In the 1970s, while Redwood Shores was a young, growing community, Redwood City's once thriving downtown was deteriorating. While it was necessary to preserve many of the historic buildings in the original financial and commercial district, Redwood City was confronted with the challenge of how to bring the community back to the heart of the city.
In the 1970s, Redwood City was hit with the bad times that lots of the smaller cities were hit with. With the advent of the shopping malls, it really pulled the retail and the support for community services out of the little downtowns. By the early 80s, Redwood City was struggling.
A good deal of the 80s, at least the last half of them, they were always talking about Deadwood City. They were really upset about the term. When you went downtown after 5 o'clock, as they proverbially say, you could shoot a cannon and you actually wouldn't hit anybody. It was primarily county workers that were down here, and they were all gone by 5:30. Businesses pretty much closed up at 6, and the town was deserted.
While you were losing your vitality downtown, the feel of community changed from being a downtown feel to being much more of a neighborhood feel. And people became engaged, whether it was with their congregations and religious affiliations, or their children's schools, or their neighborhoods.
By the 90s, with the help of a healthy economy, Redwood City focused on a systematic approach to address the needs of its residents. This process, called the Redwood City Way, set a vision, enlisted feedback from the community, developed collaborations, and invested in infrastructure. After a challenging multi-year process, a modern shopping plaza, Sequoia Station, was completed, as well as a new transit center for trains, buses, and shuttles. The city would tap into its resources to provide key facilities and services for the community, while tackling how to transform a shuttered retail downtown district back to a thriving destination.
Really successful downtowns had to have 3 things. They had to have residential housing downtown. They had to have retail sales downtown, and they had to have entertainment downtown. That was the real clear focus. All right, that's what we need to do. The other piece that was, I think, almost as important as there has to be a there. There has to be a place where everyone says, oh, that's downtown. And that's where that whole concept of having a plaza came in. And so we said, all right, we want those 3 things that we know are happening, and we need a central plaza.
The stage was set for the new century as Redwood City began to implement plans for the revitalization of downtown. Plans were in place for a cinema and retail project, as well as a community plaza to be located in front of the courthouse. But with dramatic changes comes challenges.
I think one of the things that's really fascinating if you look at community change is that a community and community members are never all of one mind. When the council started looking at the cinema project, there were people in the community who were putting up flyers and showing up at council meetings saying what a terrible thing this was. They were pinning their hopes of revitalization on something that wouldn't be good for the community. To the council's credit and to the city manager's credit, they developed a community forum. They asked people what they thought. What do we need? What would you go to? What would make you feel good about downtown? And out of that grew this more holistic plan to look at the entire downtown.
We dug a big hole in this city. I mean, a massive hole that disrupted all the existing businesses. Everyone wrung their hands and tore their hair and thought this was the worst thing, the most dumb thing that the city has ever done. Look what they're doing to an already devastated downtown.
Once you start, you are committed. Once you have a deep hole in the ground, you got to keep going. And it was not easy to fill all those retail spots. So it was not fast and it was not pretty. But I think the results then helped community members see that it wasn't a flippant decision and that the council kept reiterating why they felt it would be best for the community.
To have the conviction to see an area in your downtown area and really have the vision to say this is the way that we want it to be, not only for the next few years, but for decades to come. Theater Way, the underground parking garage, and the new development that surrounded really hit those 3 targets all in one development.